Donald Trump and the right and Jesse Waters and Laura Loomer and all of them, like, instantly turning to this race is about whether Kamala Harris gets to be black or not. Doesn't seem to me to be a good political strategy. And what do you know? A bunch of pollsters and people evaluating Trump's chances are agreeing. Ben Lazarus is a pollster for Target Smart and said 2 days before their black Trump voter group was supposed to be set up, my recruiter reaches out to me in a mild panic. Confirmation calls were not going well and the group is falling apart. Of the 7 black Trump voters versus Biden, we originally recruited just 2 weeks earlier, 3 had to bail because they were now supporting Harris. We all know better than to generalize qualitative findings, but this remarkable problem is not one I've ever encountered in 15 plus years of polling. And that's a focus group. That's an anecdote or whatever. But we can also see that in the most recent national poll, Trump had 11% support amongst black voters. Harris had moved up by 4 points, I think, at that point from where Joe Biden had been. Another recent poll had Trump at 24% to Joe Biden 60%. So we see that falling apart. And that's before he decides to make the entire thing about whether black people get to be black, whether they're black enough for him or black enough for Laura Loomer, black enough for Steve Bannon or Sebastian Gorka. What does he think about whether you get to be black? We'll see. Maybe that won't hurt them amongst black voters. I have a feeling it might not help them though. What do you think?
In the wildly cynical world of political consulting and the divide and conquer method, there's tons of ways people have put out there, you can find them, about basically trying to divide and turn black voters against Kamala Harris, particularly men. Like, there's a lot to that. There's a lot of very intense attempts. There's a lot of counterproductive attempts to thwart that. Like, that's a real thing, whether it works or not. But separately with this whole like, oh my God, can she be black? Can she be Indian at the same time? Like, if you are in the middle of a conversation with literally any white person and you're tired of contributing to it, just ask them what they are. So what are you? And they'll go, well, and then it'll be like, I've been everywhere, man, from Johnny Cash or whatever. It'll be like, it'll be, well, my dad's, we got Scottish, we got Irish, we got Scandinavian, and mostly Northern European, and then we got some Southern Eastern European, and they'll go on and on. And then they'll stop, and then they'll say, and then my dad's side is, and there will be 50 things in there. And depending on what ridiculous over-the-top holiday we're talking about, they will claim it as theirs. That is what the white person does, and we love it about ourselves. We get to say, like, I'm a quarter Hungarian, so I know all about Vlad the Impaler or whatever. Like,
that's true.
Romanian. That's the kind of stuff that they'll say, right? So. Like, it's just so weird, and again, it's the theme of them being weird.
100%. By the way, speaking of weird, specifically about Donald Trump and the projection of a Donald Trump, as we talked about yesterday on the show, Donald Trump's family spent a half century pretending to be Swedish because they didn't want to be thought of as German for business purposes in America. And Donald Trump himself, in his book, wrote that his family was Swedish. He knew that they weren't. There's no Swedish blood. They just lied about it. They invented a cultural background that they thought would be more advantageous to them for their careers. Donald Trump physically cannot do anything without projecting.
We are so close to being done with this.
Are we?
We are 90 days away from ending Trump.
Maybe they will cart whatever is left of Donald Trump out in 4 years to vote for it. He won't be able to stand upright, but he will be able to say something racist. He'll just like whisper the N-word with his last breath, and they'll be like, yeah. Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.